Hello, I'm Sarah Gorbatov. I'm a junior and OG student at the Idea School, and as a part of this video, 3 students will be sharing various projects that they have partaken in. Yehuda Zinberg will be sharing a Judaic Studies project that he undertook last year in his Chabura group, and Leah Mastery and Felicia Stendig will be sharing an engineering project that they pursued in inquiry, and I will be sharing one of my favorite chemistry projects that we pursued in Chem-engineering, chemistry, and engineering last school year. So this was a project that initially we were hoping to create some sort of visual, physical representation with about nuclear power and energy, since that's what we were covering throughout the trimester, but obviously that wasn't possible anymore because we were quarantining, and so we had to adapt this project and make it more digitally friendly and digital multimedia software-esque, and I'm so glad that we had to do that now because it really broadened my horizons and caused me to step outside of my comfort zone and explore Blender specifically, which is a notoriously difficult 3D design software that all sorts of filmmakers and data analysts and video game designers alike use to create simulations and models, and I used it to model Le Chatelier's principle of equilibrium, which is a principle that states that any system of products and reactants will inevitably reach equilibrium, a state of harmonious balance, and I thought that was kind of fitting for the situation because obviously everything was very chaotic with the lockdown and Zoom, and it was ironic but nice. And other people, they pursue different topics in chemistry, such as the ideal gas law, such as redox reactions, such as acid-base reactions, and they used a programming language called processing to create a simulation. Some people created physical flipbooks. Ezra and I used Blender, and he helped me a lot with my simulation because he was familiar with the software. I had help from Gov and many YouTube tutorials, and I will admit that the project was a lot of work, and I spent many hours, perhaps too many hours, perfecting my simulation, and it was a stressful feat. But I eventually overcame it, and I was able to create something that I'm very proud of, and that at first sight doesn't seem in depth, but it is very detailed. There's a fire that's burning, and there's these silver nitrate droplets that fall into the liquid in the beaker and create splashes, and there are all of these crystal lattices that are forming in the liquid because of the system reaching equilibrium, and there's so much packed into it, and I was honestly at certain points thinking of giving up, but I didn't, and I didn't because this project was something that I had never tried before, and I wanted to prove to myself that I was ready to take on something challenging, and this challenging thing for me was probably the best thing I've ever done. It was so much fun, and I'm so glad that I was given the opportunity to try something new.
Hi, my name is Yehuda Zinberg, and I am in 10th grade at the Idea School. Last year, one of our most independent classes was known as Chabura, sort of higher-level Jewish text-based class that was run by Rabbi Rothblatt and focused on topics that interested us, the students, in Jewish philosophy, such as what happens when we die, and what does the Jewish afterlife look like. For our second exhibition of learning last year, we were to do a creative project in any of these deep Jewish philosophical topics. One student made a detailed presentation comparing the afterlife depicted on the comedy TV show The Good Place with what medieval sources tell us about the Jewish afterlife, while another created meticulous depictions of various Jewish mythical characters in sources like the Talmud. I was particularly interested with the idea of Gehinnom, a place in Jewish literature that is often somewhat erroneously described as the Jewish version of hell. There's a rather obscure Jewish text known as Masechet Gehinnom, which contains detailed descriptions of this not often talked about section of Jewish thought. I took upon myself the task of doing manuscript research on, and eventually doing a full English translation of Masechet Gehinnom. This would be the first ever translation of the work into any other language. And as you can see here, if you go onto the website on sefaria.org, it is all there. This type of project is truly indicative of what the Idea School is all about. Students pursuing their own passions in a much deeper and personal way. I gained many skills from this project, such as how to do manuscript research on Jewish texts, how to translate Jewish and Hebrew texts, and an incredibly deep understanding of Masechet Gehinnom, and how it portrays Gehinnom as a whole. And now this translation is there for anyone in the world to see and benefit from. Not only do our projects help ourselves in ways that standard curriculums can only dream of, but they also help others too, and that is what we stand for at the Idea School.
Hi, I'm Leah.
And I'm Felicia, and we're both juniors. T-Case is a phone case targeted to help people who struggle with stress or anxiety. T-Case also has 3 to 6 removable strips of textured materials so that the user can customize it to what they need. Typically, stress or anxiety manifests in unhealthy ways, such as becoming fidgety or loud and disruptive. However, T-Case is a phone case that's going to help people manage their stress and anxiety in a discreet manner by them controlling what they need and how they're going to use it by the different textures and materials that they get to customize.
For our first iterations, we decided to use a 3D printer that we have in our school, and we made about 7-8 iterations until we realized we got fully wrong measurements. And these are the iterations. And our last iteration, we finally got the correct one.
So, as you can tell throughout the first few steps of our project, we've encountered a lot of fails and issues. However, we've had enough perseverance to keep going, and we have the confidence to keep pushing forward even through more issues that will arise.